Sure is bright out today. I was thinking of getting a backdrop eventually, but you know how you nickel and dime your way through things, and then next thing you know, you spent hundreds of dollars. Hello, I'm Casey Mann, and welcome to another episode of Mann's Cans. I'm going to be a little bit quicker on this episode and not really do my stupid jokes and humor on the intro, because I think I have a lot to cover on this episode. I've been pretty busy the last few weeks. I like to keep myself busy in general, but I actually flew to Chicago, 13-hour plane ride to get over there. I was there only for 3 days, 3.5 days. Flew out on Monday morning and arrived Tuesday evening back in Korea. And so I'm a little tired, I'm jet lagged, but one of the primary reasons for me to go there was to go to the ZMFestivus, the ZMFestivus of 2018. It's the first one ever. It's just a local regional meetup for headphone enthusiasts. It was arranged by ZMF, especially Zach and Bevan and everyone that works for him, all his employees. I'll go through my experience there, and then after that I'll talk about something that I did film an episode for, because I received a surprise package from ZMF. And so I figured it would be appropriate to just talk about both things at once. The reason I decided to go to the ZMFestivus is not just because of my purchasing the icon and doing an episode on YouTube about it, but I always wanted to go to Chicago. I had a lot of things on my bucket list in Chicago, so I had a lot of reasons to go there. But knowing that the ZMFestivus would also be happening on that Sunday, it was the impetus to push me towards finally fulfilling one of my bucket list goals. For headphone enthusiasts, one of the primary forums on the internet is head-fi.org, which I'll write down in the description. And on Head-fi, there's a section in the forums that discusses local and regional meetups for headphone fans. And there's also the CanJam. There are several CanJams throughout the year. Most of them are in the US. There are a couple overseas, like London, Shanghai, just last year was the first time, and Singapore. And at the CanJam, they're just big conventions with high-end audio companies promoting their products, showing a lot of their prototypes. But that kind of convention is less personal. It's more professional. And if you're a big fan of audio equipment, those are the places to go to see the latest and greatest. But also on Head-fi, there's a local forum section. And with that, I noticed that there was the ZMFestivus coming up. It happened to be around the same week that I purchased my icon that it showed up. And so I thought, well, here we go, I'll do it. I did bring my camcorder with me to ZMFestivus. However, it's not my event, and it's not for me. All I wanted to do was to participate in the experience, to be able to meet new people, to see equipment that I will never be able to obtain. So that was the main reason for me to go. And I'm glad I didn't film it, because I did take pictures of all of the equipment there. And I'm going to do a slideshow while I talk, showing pictures of all the gear that was there. But as I took my first photo, one of the guys showing his stuff looked apprehensive. And he's like, whoa, what are you doing? And I said, just pictures of the gear, not of the people. I understand anyone who doesn't want pictures of themselves taken. I am very camera shy and averse myself. I wouldn't even be on camera right now if I didn't want to just make my own videos to learn the editing and video and audio processes that go into it. But now I'm pretty low on funds, so I can't really afford to have people being filmed to my bidding so much anymore. What I found exciting about the ZMFestivus is not just that it was put together, but it's the idea that I can finally meet people in the headphone community that have as much of an enthusiasm or even more of it for headphones than I do, because I only have one friend actually. He's in Hong Kong now, but he loves headphones as much as me, maybe even more than I do. But anyone else I talk to, they know a little bit, but they don't really care to discuss it, or they don't have equipment that they can share with me and say, oh, I love this because of that and all that. And so part of the fun for me going to a meetup like this was I was thinking that it might be a little bit more personal and face-to-face than a CanJam, which I do intend to go to at least one this year or next year. I intend to do at least one of those, but I understand that it would be more of just part of a collective en masse versus going to a personal local meetup where you meet the people. And that's a big deal for me. So I went there and everyone had their booths set up. At least 80 people signed up and showed up, and it was a rather small room once you got 80 people and 20 tables filled up with headphone equipment. And so as I'm talking, you'll be seeing pictures of all the stuff that was there. I love tubes, and so seeing all those tubes glowing and naked right in front of me, it got me hot, because tubes warm up, and then it heats up the room. Yeah, it got pretty hot in there. The hottest thing of all, though, was the actual gear, and it was exciting to be able to just be around all of that. I really did want to try a lot of the equipment out, but there were two conditions as to why I did not do it. First issue was that when you go to a venue like that, you have a lot of people talking. There's a lot of ambient noise. Everyone was respectful and didn't, try yelling over the crowd or over the noise, because everyone's there to listen to headphone equipment. But the issue is that with open back headphones, which is what a lot of high quality gear is, are open backs, you'll hear ambient sound, and when you're listening to things, people can hear what you're hearing. So if you turn it up and everyone else is turning up their open backs, everyone's sitting next to each other, it would just be a cacophony of sound, and you weren't really getting a very fair representation of the best capabilities of those headphones, simply because of the environment. And that's not a detriment to this or any other convention. It's just one of those drawbacks to wanting to listen to good sound in a room where sound isn't silent. The other reason was I just kind of was afraid of hurting something. Typically, I'm very athletic, obviously. I roll out of bed in the morning. It's a really good workout. The reason I haven't been in the Olympics is because I would be tired of getting gold medals all the time. However, when you get into a situation where you're around all that equipment and in closed-in spaces, all it would take is just moving your elbow the wrong way at one point and then knocking over a $5,000, amplifier, and it's like, oh, geez, I would totally pay it back, but it's not like I would want anything like that to happen, because also you get a personal connection to the gear that you have. So even if someone breaks it and they replace it with another one, it's not the one that you had. It's not your own thing. So I was always cognizant of not getting in the way of that, and I just I thought, well, everyone is kind enough to share their gear, but also with the ambient noise in the environment and not a lot of time to spend listening and experimenting with things, I just kind of let that go. But what is great is just being in an environment with like-minded people who have a common interest, and that's always something that's fun to do. If you're a fan of Magic the Gathering, people gather together, I think, to do magic or something, and this is kind of what that's like. The energy of the people around you and those who are fond of it, you can get swept up in that. But it was very pleasant because everyone was so kind, and people actually talked to me for a change. It was great, because usually I go, hey guys, and it's always like people just look at me, and then when they look at me in the eyes, it just kind of divert them and then turn their backs on me, and I'm used to it. But it didn't happen this time. The reason being that they couldn't turn around because the wall was really close behind them, so they had no choice but to look at me and engage me. It was great. But on a more serious note, it's just, I am serious. Everyone there was great. They're just such nice people, always willing to tell you what their gear is, how it works, why they got it, what they do or don't like about it, their dreams and aspirations for future gear and equipment. And I spent a little bit of time not in that room just to get away because I'm very introverted and it takes me a lot of energy to get around groups of people. So I just need to kind of get away. But there was an awesome couple of people that I talked to and they love cooking. So I ended up talking to them about cooking for a lot. They're really, really knowledgeable. I would love to try some food that they cook. But I don't want to mention names just in case they don't want that attention. I respect that. I don't have anything spectacular to say about the equipment because I didn't really try it out. I will say that somebody there that you probably have heard of if you like Head-fi, he has one of the sexiest headphones on the planet. I don't remember or know what kind of wood it was, but it was the newest Verite, the ZMF Verite model. That picture right there. Oh man, isn't that thing just gorgeous? Sometimes I mentioned this one that night with some people I was talking to, where you know how something is just so beautiful that you wish you could taste it. You know, I wish my eyes had tongues, so then I could just lick those headphones with my eyes forever. So I took a pic. Also, Zach and Bevan and the entire ZMF crew. They're all such wonderful, laid-back, normal people. And sometimes it's interesting to see what normal people are like in this world because I'm always around myself. They were very patient with me and everyone. They did an excellent job putting everything together. There seemed to be no hitches as far as I could see. And everyone was always willing to pitch in and help each other out. And it was just wonderful. The Head-fi community is pretty exceptional, really good people. So I have no regrets whatsoever about hopping in a plane on a Friday morning, arriving in Chicago on a Friday morning, not sleeping for almost 3 days straight, sleeping 3 p.m. to midnight on a Friday, only to have a Saturday and Sunday to spend going in Chicago. And that Sunday was spent going to the ZMFestivus. So ultimately I have 1 day in Chicago to do what I wanted outside of the Festivus, because I did want to do that. But I must say, I would never take back a single second that I spent at the ZMFestivus on my Sunday. And afterwards, there was a dinner. A fair little nugget of people showed up, and I had no choice but to try and exert myself and introduce who I am. And I sat at a table, and it was an outstanding experience, and I met some more amazing people. Every moment that I spent that day was a positive one. Yeah, if it happens again next year, I'm certainly going to try and find a way to get myself over there again, because, yeah, it was great. Good people. And that's my favorite part of it. Gear is one thing, but just meeting these people was the best part of it. I loved it. Great time. So next year, if there's ZMFestivus and you haven't gone this year, you should go next year, just because it's an experience. Even if you don't really know much about headphones or like them very much, there's so much to learn just being around people that do know it. And all you have to do is ask questions. All you have to do is say, can I try this? And they'll tell you, yeah, sure. And you know, you're putting on something, you know, $6,000 headphones and plug it in to a $6,000, $10,000 amp, you know. But that person there who is presenting their stuff, they have nothing but joy about their products. And they would love to be able to share it with somebody who doesn't even have a lot of knowledge or experience on headphones. Look it up on Head-fi and see if there's one in your area. It doesn't even have to be in Chicago. There are many everywhere. I'm sure that any of these, you're going to see a lot of the same people. I already figured that was the case before I even went there. But you're going to see a lot of the same people. This community is a very close-knit community because there are not many people who have such a strong hobby as much as there are fans of other things, you know, movies or famous bands or whatever. So, you know, if you spend a lot of time going to these conventions and going to these meetups, you're probably going to be seeing the same people. I will say though that, you know, each of the people that were at this meetup are a stellar representation of headphone enthusiasts. And so, yeah, I mean, it was great. And I thank you so much, Zach, Bevan, Eric, everyone else on the ZMF team. I'm really bad with names, but talking to all of you was great. And I really appreciate all that you guys did for this event. And everyone made me feel welcome. And it was great. So, yeah, I'd definitely be going again next year. Okay, so part 2 is still related to ZMF. So I thought I'd just combine my ZMFestivus with an episode that I filmed last week, and I ended up just kind of scrapping it. I might show a couple of clips or highlights of it. First of all, I wasn't really in the right mindset to do a video, and the other element is that I was shocked and awed and gobsmacked by the result of a special care package that ZMF had sent me. And I had no idea how to react. And I haven't even looked at the video. I will by the time this gets edited, because I do intend to show a couple of clips from it. But this happened because my first episode was the unboxing of the icon. And embarrassingly, ZMF, Zach and Bevan, they saw my YouTube clip of the unboxing of the icon. And for some strange reason, they really enjoyed it. But also, I did my review of the icon. It took several weeks because it takes time to get used to how headphones work, especially if you're busy and you're not listening for hours every day. And but it turns out that they both really appreciated what I had to say about their headphones. So it was like a day or two after I did my icon review and posted it on YouTube. I got an email from a mail delivery service saying ZMF purchase has been mailed to you, and it said pads in parentheses. I was like, huh, that's cool. But I thought actually it was a typo and that it wasn't sent to me. It was just a mistell, right? An improper email. So I wasn't even really holding out to expect anything to show up. Sure enough, though, it took 2 weeks to get here because this place is a geographical oddity. 2 weeks from everything. And it was the Monday before I flew out on Friday last week. So I made a really quick video. I just said, hey, because I wasn't feeling too hot and I didn't want to do what I did last time. I just kind of wanted to open it up and show my appreciation and say thank you. And, thank you for the pads. I didn't even know what pads they were. But then I opened the box up and it wasn't just one set of pads. It was 3 sets of replacement pads for the icon, or for a lot of headphones actually. But it was 3 replacement pads, and that completely caught me off guard. I had no idea that, number one, that it wasn't a typo, and so when it arrived, I was surprised enough. And then the other thing was that, like, I thought that was so kind of them. Like, they didn't have to do that at all, and I didn't know what to say. I literally stared at the camera, and I thought, this isn't the time to make a joke. This is the time to say thank you. But I was thinking, thank you is not enough. I have to do more than that. How do I show my gratitude? And so what happened was I just literally stared at the screen, and I think I swallowed a couple times. I was like, what do I say? I really don't know. I'm lost. So I just stared at the camera, and then I go, forget it. Just turn this off. Turn off my cameras. I sent them a thank you letter instead. But I'm actually, I don't know what to say. This is really nice of them. Wow. Oh my gosh. I don't know what to say. I really appreciate it. That was nice of you guys. Thank you. I already thanked them like 7 or 8 times when I went to Chicago, but it really means a lot to me. And the main reason that I'm mentioning it is because if there's someone out there who sees this, who has maybe a little bit of a concern or consideration about potential customer service issues with ZMF. I really don't think you're going to get that at all. It's not like dealing with a huge monopoly or a massive enterprise or corporation where you send an email and it goes to tier 0, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Then they say, oh, never mind. You send them an email, they'll send you a response rather quickly. And that was the initial reason for me to purchase headphones from them. I've been thinking about doing it for 2 years actually. But then I sent an email a while ago. Then I sent another one back in September. But each time I got a response within an hour. And I was like, wow, that's impressive. And you hear nothing but good things about Zach and Bevan. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to take the plunge and do it. And it coincided directly with me no longer procrastinating to make my own YouTube clips for editing video and audio. So I had to force myself to get on camera, and I thought, well, let's do it. I'll just do an unboxing video because you know how lame unboxing videos are. So I thought, well, just do something clever so you can learn how to edit things, make a couple gags here and there, do the old switcheroo and other things like that. I never had the intent for other people to see it. Not that I joke about being embarrassed, but I understand completely that when I bring a video out on YouTube, it's there for the world to see. And I don't have any issues about that. But at the same time, it was actually for my friends and for myself. So to have other people see it, and most people seem to have responded positively to it, that's great. And I'm not sure how many more episodes I have left for Mann's cans in general, because I don't buy new gear that often, especially now. And I'll go into an episode probably talking about taking that headphone upgrading journey. It's like anybody who has a hobby. You start out small with little things, and then you start enjoying it more, and then upgrading and upgrading. But over 10, maybe 15 years of the headphone journey, I'm almost at the point now where I'm comfortable with where I'm at. But now the final few purchases that I would like to get are going to take me a long time to accumulate the funds to get them. But I will cover more of that later in a future episode, if I do them. And so for now, this is basically another ZMF free commercial, but I am more than happy to promote that company. They not only make amazing quality products at a price range that is far more competitive for what you're getting versus what is provided by other companies, but you also get very personal and honest customer service and interaction, and building that kind of rapport with your customers is a beautiful thing. And it's something that's a lot easier to do if you're a small company. And if you have a very loyal and committed fan base, then, doing these local get-togethers or being very kind and complimenting a novice weirdo who has a strange sense of humor on the videos that they do, well, that's great. So with that, I'm going to conclude this episode. But I hope that you enjoyed what I had to talk about. And I especially hope you enjoyed the slideshow of the kick-ass gear that I got to see firsthand. And a lot of people listened to, but I didn't.